Northwestern team on a 3-game winning streak right now. They've won 11 consecutive games in the Big Ten, the longest active streak. But we are underway here at Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium. Loose ball on the ground. It's picked up by the Ducks' Bree Carasquillo to start this game off. Carasquillo, one of that high-powered scorer, leading scorer for the Ducks, as we mentioned in the open. Here's Janae Sperling coming up ahead, giving it over to Madison Sweeney. This Ducks team who beat Eastern Michigan in their last game, snapping that 6-game losing streak. It was a second-half performance for the Ducks in order to pull that off. They trailed late in the game, then scored 8 goals consecutively in order to pull off the 13-11 victory. It was a come-from-behind victory for the Ducks, now trying to be the first ones on the board in this first quarter of play. Pass comes out to Matsuoka as she charges in. A little bit of an open lane, but some solid defense from the Wildcats, and now they pick up possession. Jalen Rozga has the ball.
That is cause turnover number 31 on the season for Jane Hansen, who came in today 12th in the nation in that category. She is so fantastic at taking the ball away from the opposition. That check from behind the back is when the player thinks they've gotten around her. That's her best weapon.
Here's Maddie Taylor, so deadly with it. Had it stripped out of her stick for the second, but wins it right back. And Northwestern as well, so great at turning defense into offense. You see them move in the transition game quite a little bit, but here they are setting up their offense on this play. Taylor charging in, has it stripped out of her stick once again, but a whistle blows for a foul, and I believe it'll be a free position coming up for the Cats.
Yeah, this is exactly what Northwestern wants early on, although Taylor actually outside of the 8-meter arc, so not necessarily a free position shot opportunity here.
Still able to have their offense set up. Here comes Taylor charging in, gets inside, and now it will be a free position coming up for Taylor.
And this is where Maddie Taylor really hurts you as an opposing team, because she is one of the very best in the country at converting from the free position arc, has the most free position goals of any player in the country. Just so excellent, and especially when she's at the middle hash like this, there's just not a lot you can do as a defense.
Second in the nation in goals right now. Taylor charges in. The shot is stopped by Crowther. A huge stop, and now the ball trickle out. Oregon with possession.
Well, that's exactly what you want to do as a goalkeeper against Maddie Taylor. Crowther makes an instinctive early move and sticks to it. Just thinking that the ball's going down left, reads it that way, and there's another cause turnover by Hansen.
And now Northwestern with a 3-on-2 opportunity. Miles across. Chance here for Locascio. She'll have to back out. Now drops it down low for Taylor. Taylor was second in the Big Ten in free position percentage before that previous one. She's actually tied with Bree Carasquillo. Now her percentage will drop a tad. So moving to third with Bree Carasquillo for Oregon. Second, they were both converting on about 2/3 of their free position opportunities. Northwestern pressuring once again. Taylor, another opportunity. This time she scores. Maddie Taylor with the first goal of the game.
Well, it all starts with Jane Hansen, as it so often does for this Northwestern team this season. Cause turnover number 32 in the transitional situation there. Takes it away, creates the chance for the Wildcats, and Maddie Taylor puts it in the back of the net in the end. You just can't give her too many chances, Dylan. You mentioned it, you know, that number free position-wise at about 2/3. About 2/3 of her overall shots have turned into goals this season. She's just not a player that you can let have too many clean opportunities, and she buries this one in that right-hand corner. Again, a good read by Crowther. Makes that right instinctive move to take it away across her body, but can't do anything with it.
That's goal number 65 on the season for Maddie Taylor. She tries to get back in that race with Rachel Clark of Boston College, who scored 7 yesterday. That'll be a race that goes neck and neck towards the end of the season between those two.
Yeah, look, for both of them, the way they're tracking, the goals, the single season goals record is not out of reach for either player. That would be 100.
It'll be very impressive to see if that is able to be won. Possession here for the Ducks. No, they're going to give possession over the Wildcats. A foul was called.
Well, that's a great play by Sammy White. Takes that charge, just takes the brunt of the contact from Rachel Palo. Does a great job of recognizing that Palo was coming with her head down, full head of steam, and just getting in front and getting set to take the charge.
This is an Oregon team that pretty much needs to win the draw control battle. They are winless this season when they don't win. Here's a chance in front and a goal down low. It's Lucy Monroe with the second goal of the game for the Cats.
This is great passing from Northwestern. We've seen the Maddie Taylor show through Northwestern's first 2 possessions, but here the Wildcats moving the ball with a little bit more aplomb. Great work. Great player movement as well as the ball is moving. Watch Lucy Monroe just slide in. If she makes that cut too quickly, she takes herself out of scoring position really fast. That's a mistake a lot of players make, but she slows down her steps, chops her feet a little bit to give herself more time in the 8-meter arc. So when she catches, she has plenty of space to score this ball into on the short side. Great goal from Lucy Monroe.
That's a great point, Noah. I mean, that hesitation by her to create that open space. Terrific job for Monroe. That's now her 13th goal on the season. She had 2 goals and 2 assists in the previous game against Rutgers, so becoming a bigger part of the scoring threat for this offense, for this Northwestern team. It's been the majority of the Maddie Taylor show, of course. No one else coming near her in that goal tally. You saw that earlier graphic. Oregon with 2 players in the top 10 of the Big Ten in goal scoring. Northwestern only has Maddie Taylor. However, some of the other depth can definitely help out. Another draw control here from Oregon as they try to get one of those goals back.
You mentioned how good Oregon's been when they win the draw 6-2 in games in which they win the draw control battle, 0-6 otherwise. The problem they have is that Northwestern wins plenty of games in which they lose the draw control battle.
And of course, they have some great talent in that draw circle to go out and win. Of course, you have Sam Smith, who is a force in that circle to go out and win some games. Here comes Oregon charging in. It was Lila Hurley who lost it for the second, but Oregon will retain possession. It's nice to be outside here, Noah. And
absolutely.
Gorgeous view of the lake besides us. So the players are happy. The temperatures are nice and warmed. You don't get one of those cold 40-degree days outside, but just a gorgeous day for lacrosse on this Sunday afternoon.
It's a bit windy here, south to north. Be interesting to see if that has any impact today.
Oregon pressuring in front. The pass just goes haywire. However, Oregon able to stick with it. It's Hazel Baker picking it up and keeping it away from Jane Hansen, who already has a couple of caused turnovers today. Rachel Palo dancing in. Gets pushed off by Jalen Rosga, but Palo's able to win it right back. 21 seconds on the shot clock. They've got to hurry a little bit here. Pass goes across to the other side. Here comes Sperling. Drops it down low. Pass can't quite be connected. Schweitzer's way out of her net, but she's able to get right back in. Only 7 seconds on the shot clock, and Sammy White is able to pick it off of the turnover.
Well, the pressure Northwestern's defense puts on you is unlike any other as they turn it right back over to Oregon here. That's been difficult for all opponents to deal with this season. The Ducks are having a hard time with it right now.
Palo couldn't get anything going in the transition game. She was just marked off by Mary Carroll, but able to get the pass. Now they take it behind the net. Schweitzer has to get back in the net in a hurry. She's been dancing around out there. And another turnover on the ground. This one is picked up by the Wildcats. Mary Carroll able to cause that one.
And the reason that turnover was caused is because Delaney Schweitzer takes her role as the 8th defender really importantly. She is not a player who is going to sit back in that goal circle. She knows that Northwestern's defense around her is so aggressive and up and out front. That means that Schweitzer has to be aggressive as well. If she doesn't come out of her circle to take away passing lanes, Oregon can take advantage and other teams can take advantage of the way that Northwestern's defense really pressures high and hard constantly. So it's Schweitzer slowing down opposing offenses that helps create turnovers like that.
Already 5 turnovers in this game for Oregon, trailing 2-0. Northwestern trying to add on to this lead in a hurry. Here's Lucy Monroe dropping it down low. Taylor scores! Monroe to Taylor, and it's 3-0.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
There from Lexi Jenkins, realizing that she was out of green card territory so she could be more aggressive, but raised up the hands way too high there. Got into Carroll's head neck area, and that's just going to be an automatic yellow every single time.
I mean, it slows down Northwestern, obviously, but now you go a player down for 2 minutes. it's not going to be a great chance against this Northwestern team who already has 5 goals in this game.
You mentioned the Oregon transition game hasn't been there for them, Dylan. That's something they want to get into because they have such speed with players like Simmons and Palo. But Northwestern is ready for that speed. It has a lot of speed of its own. They are very good at deterring the transition by getting back in structure, not allowing opposing offensive players to really have any purchase.
Now it's Northwestern with their offensive structure. A stop from Miles was stopped by Crowther. Now another opportunity. The shot from Monroe goes wide. Locasio, the first one there behind the net. Gives it over to Campbell. Tries to bounce off of one defender, now passes it to the other side. Finds Taylor. She'll walk in and shoot. However, a foul was issued, and it looks like a free position is coming up.
And Maddie Taylor almost trying to draw
that's Taylor LaPointe, sorry, not Maddie Taylor.
Or Taylor LaPointe almost trying to draw this shooting space all the way, but
a little bit of confusion here from the
I
players.
think Taylor thought that the ball was behind, but there was shooting space called on Taylor LaPointe beforehand because Oregon just left her for a second. By the time they got back, they were committing the shooting space violation.
Taylor LaPointe with the opportunity. Already a 5-1 lead for Northwestern. LaPointe with a simple pass to the other side. Wide open look for Campbell, who scores. This one will count for Riley Campbell. It's 6-1.
Well, that's a set play for Northwestern, and it takes advantage of two things. Number one, Taylor LaPointe has a very fast shot. Oregon knows that. Even if she's not their main point of concern, they still have to focus in on her. Number two, nobody wants to lose track of Maddie Taylor. So when LaPointe makes this initial pass to Taylor, you can see 2 Oregon players run directly to Maddie Taylor, and that leaves Riley Campbell all alone down low. That last rotator for Oregon is a little bit late. Couldn't come up in time, and it creates the opportunity for Northwestern to go ahead 6-1. Again, it's taking advantage of the way that defenses focus on Maddie Taylor. That's what creates the opportunity there for Riley Campbell.
24th goal of the season for last year's first-team All-Ivy League player over at Harvard. She scored in every single game this season except for the North Carolina game, so has been a great addition to this Northwestern team, who has done a terrific job all year with using some of their transfers to great ability. Of course, you have Riley Campbell, you have Nikki Miles and Jordy Miles. It's been great to see that offensive scoring when you have to replace some top-level scorers from last season. Draw control, won by Sammy White on the play, and then just immediately gives it over to Lexi Jenkins.
Yeah, Sammy White trying to go a little bit too fast there. Northwestern wants to catch Oregon off guard as much as possible, but White didn't see Jenkins there, I don't think, and didn't have the angle, and now Northwestern has given away a green card foul. A couple of really silly mistakes in that sequence for Northwestern. Looked like Nikki Miles got the card potentially. Couldn't see who that was.
We'll let you know once we receive word. Yep, it is Nikki Miles who gets the card called on her, so she'll go sit for a minute. Oregon trailing by 5 with just under 4 minutes left in this first quarter, trying to slowly work their way back. Of course, they trailed a lot against Eastern Michigan, were able to score 8 consecutive goals in that second half to come back and win it, but Eastern Michigan and Northwestern, 2 very different teams in terms of talent level, but a chance down low, heavy contact, and a foul is going to be called here.
Yeah, the yellow card comes out. Now Northwestern's 2 players down. Jalen Rosgood is too aggressive down low here, and again, Northwestern's defense a step late getting to one of these speedy Oregon players. Rachel Palo slices into the middle, and the Wildcat help is a little bit behind. Watch Rosgood come to the ball here. She's got that stick extended out into the midsection, and because Palo is in a vulnerable area, leaping to potentially shoot, that's what caused the upgrade to a yellow card foul.
And it gives a straightaway free position as a result for Palo. We'll have to redo it here as someone left early. Believe that was Sam Smith, who left early on that play. So Palo a second opportunity now. Charges in, the shot got deflected on the way. However, Oregon's able to remain with possession, now 2 players up for about 30 seconds. Coming in, Sperling drops it down low, a chance and a goal. Kara Squillo's on the board, it's 6-2.
Teams do not practice being 2 players down all that often, and you can see it with Northwestern there. Obviously never easy to defend 5-on-7, but multiple Wildcat players lost their assignments in this sort of zonal marking scheme that you are forced to slip into when you're down this many players. Kara Squillo just slips in behind. You can see the lack of communication there between Carol and Fujinaga as Fujinaga slides across. Carroll doesn't come up to cover, and Carrasquillo ends up with an easy finish.
The two leading goal scorers on the team for Oregon have the 2 goals, of course, with Carrasquillo and Simmons. Carrasquillo had that hat trick against Eastern Michigan on Friday night, was a big part of that come-from-behind victory. Now up to 37 goals on the season for her. Another draw opportunity. This one is won cleanly by Sam Smith. Oregon was out to an early lead in the draw control category. Now it's 5-4, still in their favor. However, Northwestern has done a solid job as of late by winning some of those draw controls. Here's Taylor giving it over to Campbell with some open space. Behind comes Nikki Miles, circling in front, she scores. What a play by Nikki Miles, it's 7-2.
This is where Northwestern's secondary options behind Maddie Taylor have to improve. They're going to have one-on-one matchups all year long, and Nikki Miles here sizes up Hazel Baker in this one-on-one and just dodges around her. It's a lot easier said than done, but Miles with a little bit of a shimmy, a little bit of a shake, and just goes past her here, convinces her that she might be going the other way under the net, gets Baker to take one step the wrong way, and knows what to do with it once she gets back in front of the circle. Just an excellent individual play by the grad transfer out of Penn.
A terrific fake, as you mentioned, from Miles. Has been terrific, 21 goals on the season for her. She has scored at least 2 goals in every single game over this last 5-game span, so has been continuing to improve as she gets more familiar with this team. That won her first of the game today. Another draw control for the Wildcats as Sammy White has a nice spin move to get past Rachel Pallo, and now a foul is called. Take a look at the previous hit. A bunch of players going down on that play led to Sammy White coming out with possession. And now it's the Cats just trying to add on to this lead.
Some new personnel in there. Jordy Miles in offensively. We haven't seen much of her so far today.
Hannah Rudolph in there as well. And Rudolph had the opportunity, just couldn't quite get a good look in front of the net. Made a nice run towards the front.
Maddie Taylor trying to make a very tight pass there. Rudolph probably had a chance to grab it, but would have been very tough.
Here comes Alex Matsuoka, charging up ahead, able to work some space free. Gives it over to Madison Sweeney. Now here's Hazel Baker, trying to make up for that defensive play on the previous goal. Jane Hansen, terrific defense, able to poke it away, but Oregon wins it right back. Now some pressure coming from Lucy Monroe. All the way back in the midfield is Lexi Jenkins with it, and they take it all the way back. Now their defender is getting into some action here as they try to reset this play. Able to successfully come back with it. Now they lose it once again. Riley Campbell with the pickup off of the turnover once again. Now Northwestern trying to go quickly in transition. Rudolph feeding it up ahead. Nikki Miles can't quite connect. The ball's poked free, and Crowther is able to pick this one up with under a minute to go in the first quarter. Transition game just hasn't been there on the last 2-3 possessions for Northwestern. They've had a couple solid opportunities. Nikki Miles would have been one-on-one with Crowther on that play if she was able to corral that pass. Here's Carrasquillo trying to circle out in front. Couldn't quite get an open look. Gives it over to Simmons with 23 seconds in the quarter. Simmons races and shoots and scores. Simmons is fired up. It's 7-3.
A tough sequence for Hannah Rudolph there. Doesn't take away that sidearm shot from Simmons. That's clearly Northwestern's game plan against a lot of these Oregon players, is to try to take away those lower release points and force them into more difficult shot attempts. It's a more difficult save for Delaney Schweitzer to make when it comes out of that side winding area. Watch where Simmons drops down and shoots this from. A little bit lower, a little bit tougher to defend. Rudolph doesn't get in the airspace, and there's not much Schweitzer can do as it crosses across her body. Excellent play by Simmons. Again, just getting that step to get herself free and able to fire the shot across her body.
And you see that play as well. Jane Hansen trying to get over to help deflect the pass, or the shot I should say, wasn't able to get over in time. It's the second of the game for Simmons. her and Carasquillo have combined for the 3 goals today.
Northwestern's defense has started games so strongly all season. Very rare struggles in this opening quarter for them.
5 shots allowed, 4 of them on goal for Oregon. Schweitzer, of course, with 2 saves so far. 18 seconds left. We'll see if there's one last opportunity. Sam Smith lying on the ground right now. Sammy White trying to fight for possession, is able to win it in front of Carasquillo with only 8 seconds left in the quarter. Doesn't seem like they'll have time to do a whole ton. Quick pass up ahead for Rozga, but that will end the clock here in the first quarter. A very impressive 7-3 score at the end of one. Of course, the defense maybe not where you want it, but Northwestern jumps out in front. It's 7-3. We'll take a quick step aside and be right back here for the second quarter on Big Ten Plus.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
And we haven't seen Sammy White dominate a game with counting stats very much this season until that game. She had been more, taking away the other team's best player, locking them down one-on-one than she had been, really racking up the caused turnovers, but getting into more of that secondary aspect in that game against the Scarlet Knights, as you mentioned.
Now it's Northwestern just continuing to pressure. It's been just draw control victory after draw control victory for the Cats. Sam Smith has done a terrific job in that category, already 4 for her in the second quarter. Monroe with 2 goals already in this game, gives it over to Bolig, who slows things down, gives it back to Monroe. She looks for the pass at first, now it gives it over to Taylor, straight on. Taylor trying to bounce around one defender, can't find the open lane, dumps it off for Monroe. She shoots and she scores. Lucy Monroe with the hat trick. It's 10-4 Northwestern.
Oregon got a little confused again here. It's hard to defend Maddie Taylor because you constantly want to be running a second player at her when you have the opportunity, but you have to run that player back. Here, a second player comes up to show at Taylor, to show her that there's that secondary pressure here. Watch this as a secondary defender comes up at the last second, but as they track back to Monroe, they lose her coming back out to Taylor, and that Oregon defender there has to just stick back to Monroe instead of recycling to Taylor. Miscommunication between the 2 defenders there. You can see Kozitsa thought that Simmons was going to stay with Taylor. Instead, Simmons goes back back to Taylor, and Monroe wide open.
I mean, what a look there from Monroe. I mean, she was wide open for about 3 to 4 seconds.
Right, it's what you want.
Yes.
And again, the thing is, though, Lucy Monroe, you can be wide open all you want. You still have to finish the goal. And against solid goalkeepers, Crowther's been solid this afternoon for sure. It's not always as easy to do that as it looks, so got to give her credit for putting it away.
Monroe, 4 shots today, 3 of them finding the back of the net, has really had a great day. 7 different goal scorers overall for Northwestern. Here comes Sammy White in transition again. It's stopped away by Crowther. The rebound, they score. Riley Campbell, I believe, got to it, and Northwestern is just laying it on right now.
I'm sure Riley Campbell will get credit with this goal. I don't think her cross was actually the last one to touch it. Oregon with some desperate defending here after a great save on Sammy White. Again, it hasn't been a bad afternoon so far for Paige Crowther, despite the 11 goals. She makes a great save down low on Sammy White. This rebound pops out, and I think it goes in the Oregon defender's cross as she's trying to keep it away from Riley Campbell. Yeah, that's
I don't know if Campbell ever got a piece of it. This might be Sammy White's goal.
Well, we'll see. Riley Taylor is the one who's touching that. You can understand from her perspective, just trying to get it away from Campbell. I don't know the ruling about crediting goals. I think you would have to credit that to Campbell.
Right now it is being credited to Campbell on our stat sheets, but I don't know if she ever touched that, so well, that's a really interesting one.
I will admit, my focus on the lacrosse rules is a little bit more towards the ones that are applicable in terms of who gets advantage in the game and not in terms of who gets credit for which goal. But it's an interesting quandary.
From the replays we looked like, Sammy White was the last Northwestern player.
But is that how it works? Do you credit the last player to touch it? Do you credit the player who quote-unquote caused the goal?
I think we may have to ask someone at a break to get the ruling. But if it is, it would be the second goal of the game for Sammy White. Not sure yet.
which I believe would be the first 2-goal game of her Northwestern career, although certainly the first 2-goal game of this season for her.
Here comes Riley Campbell, loses it, and Crowther is able to pick up the ground ball.
It's really the first time that an Oregon defender has dispossessed a Wildcat attacker in the Wildcats attacking zone. Oregon has not had very active sticks defensively. That's been one of the issues today. They have not made the Wildcats uncomfortable when they're in possession.
5 turnovers for Northwestern. Only 2 of those have been actually caused by Oregon, so it's been some of their own mistakes in those turnovers. Of course, not a terrible margin. They're still Oregon with 8 turnovers on this game. So trying to get one of those goals back, trailing by 7 now with under 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. Here's Rachel Pallo, circling in front, gives it over to Lila Hurley at the top. Hurley will cut to her left and charge in. Will take it behind the net and instead just passes it over towards the other side. He's able to find Carasquillo. Carasquillo circling around, looking for the open look, and a free position is awarded.
It's a tough call on Grace Fujinaga. I'm not sure there was actually all that much contact there, but free position awarded either way.
Of course, we mentioned how great Carasquillo is from the free position. Already 2 goals in this game, looking for the hat trick. She'll race in, shoots and scores the hat trick for Brie Carasquillo.
Well, the small hesitation from Delaney Schweitzer, because Carasquillo went low last time from the opposite hash for that same positioning. Hesitates, stays a little bit too low for a split second too long. Carasquillo takes advantage of that small window above Schweitzer's left shoulder. She is so good at finding holes and areas to exploit. That's what's created the hat trick for her today.
Back-to-back games with a hat trick for Carasquillo now. Had those 3 goals against Eastern Michigan. Also had 7 shots in that game. So really continuing the trend up to 4 shots here today in Evanston. It's been the Carasquillo and Simmons show for Oregon today. 3 goals for Carasquillo, 2 for Simmons. They make up all 5 goals for this Oregon team. And we talked about that was the show in the Open when we talked about it. The 2 of them both ranking in the top 10s for the Big Ten goal leaders. And they have shown up today only about 20 minutes into this game. Of course, it's been Northwestern on the other side, though, that has continued the scoring outbursts for them. And Alex Matsuoko almost shoved Sam Smith on that draw control, so possession will be awarded to Northwestern. Nikki Miles looking for the pass, didn't come out of her stick initially. Now is able to give it over to Taylor, but a pass over towards Campbell doesn't quite connect. They're able to win it right back with Locascio getting it.
For those wondering, that foul on Matsuoka, not a green card foul because Northwestern did not have possession at the time of the foul. So loose ball, no green card, just Northwestern possession.
Still trying to make the best of this possession. Campbell's pass to Taylor does not get fielded properly, but Taylor able to win it right back. Trying to make a nice move to cut inside, and a foul is called. So she'll have to slow things down and reset here. For here, if you're Taylor, I mean, you take a look at the net. Doesn't seem that way as she'll slow things down. Now cuts inside, and a foul is called as she kind of got taken down charging the net.
Yeah, the check there came across her arm rather than across the stick. So, look, Madison Taylor doing very well today at being patient, taking what the defense gives her, slowing down when she needs to slow down, creating opportunities for herself and her teammates, and this is exactly where she wants to be.
Another basically straight-on free position for her. Already has 2 goals in the game. She scores easily this time. It's 12-5. Maddie Taylor with a hat trick. That's 20 consecutive games for Maddie Taylor with a hat trick.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Defend Madison Taylor because the second, and they're going to actually bring her back to the 12-meter. I thought you might get that 8-meter opportunity. But the second that you make that, that mistake of fouling her, it's immediately such a worse situation to be in.
Her pass over towards Nikki Miles couldn't quite get there. Now the ball is loose, bouncing around. It just trickles wide of the net. It's picked up. Now Campbell trying to scoop up the ground ball. And a foul is called over there on Lexi Jenkins. Looking in front here, Sam Smith. But the ball will have to come all the way back out. Taylor pointing over there at Lexi Jenkins, trying to back her off as they get the restart. Gives it over to Taylor with 4 goals in the game. Cuts inside, shoots, and it's saved by Crowther.
That's what Oregon wants to do against Madison Taylor. When you send that second defender and get them into the body, it makes it so that Taylor can't go low, doesn't have as many options on the shooting profile, and obviously doesn't want to follow through too much and potentially get a yellow card.
Over there, just completely falling on the turf. It leads to a wide open breakaway for Maddie Taylor, who cuts in and scores. Gets hit in the head on the way in, but still gets the goal. It's her 5th of the game.
Yeah, this is a big problem for Oregon. Not only does Maddie Taylor score, but it's a yellow card after the fact. You admire the hustle from the Oregon defender. They're not sure who it was who picks up the yellow card after the initial mistake for the Ducks by Shea Stone. True freshman is the one who trips here. That's Stone. You can see just loses her footing. Was initially, being pressured by Northwestern, but trips and loses the footing. And then this yellow card foul, it's just a silly play trying to run back into it. I think that's Lexi Jenkins. And there's not a ton of contact with the head of Taylor, but it's just a situation where you have to know, if you're Oregon, that Taylor already pretty much has that goal. And when you get that yellow card, not only do you go player down, but the yellow card in the semi-dead ball situation while a goal is being scored leads to no draw control. Northwestern just gets the ball back.
So they will have an opportunity now. And Shea Stone, who you saw trip on that play, she hasn't played since March 1st against UC Davis, so has had a lot of time off, getting some playing time here today against Northwestern, and a costly mistake for her.
And it is Lexi Jenkins on the yellow card. Another potentially costly mistake is now, it wasn't that long ago. Oregon was only down 6. They were down, 7-3 going to the start of this quarter, 9-4 early in the quarter. But now, potentially in running clock territory with Northwestern, just absolute barrage of goals in the past few minutes.
Yeah, 1 goal away from that running clock. Here comes Campbell, chance in front. The shot just goes wide. Locasio's the first one there.
Yeah, Locasio was already celebrating, turned it into getting the ball back.
Nice play by Campbell to kind of force that ball free. It's still loose on the ground. Scramble for it. Still, it's loose. Campbell almost got hit up high in the head, kind of got poked away, but possession is awarded over here to Oregon.
Yeah, Stone got fouled while she was trying to go for the ball on the interior there.
Now Oregon can kill off some of this penalty time. However, Simmons has it stripped out of her stick. LaPointe gives it over, and Nikki Miles can't quite pick it up. Now she does. Is able to get it free of danger. Monroe with the pass up ahead to a streaking Emerson Bolig. She'll charge into the fan, race in, shoots and scores. Emerson Bolig start the running clock. It's 15-5.
That was one of the more impressive goals I've seen all season from Emerson Bolig. The whole time she was charging in, you're thinking as a Northwestern coach or fan, don't shoot it, Emerson. Don't shoot it. It's 2-on-2. The numbers are not there. Bolig is running away from the goal across the arc here. Clean look at her from Crowther. This ball can only go in the very top corner if she wants to put it away. Look at how much of the goal Crowther had blocked off there. Had her completely covered. Bolig finds the one little piece of net that she can hit to score that goal. From the rare cause turnover for Nikki Miles into an incredible solo goal for Emerson Bolig.
And it was almost essentially a 2-on-3, but a smart play by Maddie Taylor on that as well. Basically just moving away from the net, drawing a defender, just creating just enough space for Bolig on that play as well. But a terrific shot from Emerson Bolig.
Here's one of the interesting stats for Northwestern. In an era where we're not seeing teams as heavy on the ride anymore, Nikki Miles has 7 cause turnovers on the year. Riley Campbell has 7 cause turnovers in the year. Maddie Taylor has 8 cause turnovers of the year. Those are players who will play in the midfield sometimes but never play defense. They're not getting cause turnovers on the defensive end. That's all cause turnovers in the attacking end and on the ride, because Northwestern still prioritizes, when you can avoid a green card or do your best to avoid a green card, being heavy on that ride.
Here comes Sammy White, drops it off down low. Taylor with the goal, her 6th of the game, assisted by White. It's 16-5, and it's all Northwestern right now.
This is how Maddie Taylor can take over a game, Dylan. She does it with the ball in her stick. She does it cutting away from the ball. Every opportunity she finds to put pressure on the defense she takes. It's an excellent feed from Sammy White, who's been pretty involved in the offense today, and Taylor just finishing it as she does so well.
And for what we talked about with Rachel Clark scoring 7 yesterday for Boston College to move into first for the nation's lead in goals, well, now Maddie Taylor's just 1 goal away from tying her in that category.
Number 70 on the season. Rarefied air. We see Rozga running off there.
Serafina Demuno comes to check in, another one of the seniors on senior day, getting a large ovation from the crowd here.
Well, today is a day that Northwestern is honoring Selena Lesota. They're honoring Indigenous heritage today. Lesota, who has First Nations heritage, and herself, the Wildcat legend, who is currently 2nd in Northwestern's all-time goals list. Maddie Taylor continuing to rocket up that list herself.
Inching closer.
Up to 70 goals this season. I know obviously Selena Lesota is such a supporter of the Wildcat players that have come after her. Did such a good job of getting this program back to its place in the national spotlight during her seasons with Northwestern. And her place in the record book. Enshrined forever, but potentially might not be 2nd after next year. We'll see.
Here comes Taylor. She scores again. Maddie Taylor, that's 7 first-half goals. She's back to first for the nation's leader, tied, I should say. What a day for Maddie Taylor.
We were talking about it before the game, Dylan, because we were talking about, Taylor came in, tied for the top in goals. We were talking about how both her and Rachel Clark are on pace to really challenge that single-season record. And we were thinking, well, is Maddie Taylor really going to get 7 goals today? That's a lot of goals. Not only did she get 7 goals, she got 7 in the first half.
I mean, what an offensive outburst. By the way, and I think we should mention, Sam Smith has 11 draw controls already. She has been a major part of this offensive outburst. What a shot from Taylor.
7 goals. 5 of them have come in this second quarter, by the way. I mean, it has been a remarkable second quarter offensively. Northwestern, as a team now, has scored 10 goals in the second quarter.
Very impressive. Just incredibly impressive. There you see Sam Smith again in the draw control circle. I mean, 11 draw controls today. Brings her, Taylor, of course, with the 7th goal today, but Sam Smith, 11 draw controls today, brings her season total to 108. She's not able to win this one. Last year, she only had 110, and that was a team high. So she is well on pace to break that. See this graphic, 10 second quarter goals for the Wildcats today with 33 seconds remaining here. Oregon just trying to go into halftime with a little bit of confidence and something to smile about as they try to get a goal back.
Maddie Taylor, now only 1 off her career high in goals. We're still in the first half.
Incredible. Just incredible. I believe those 8 came against Marquette earlier this year. She scored a 6 a bunch of times. This is her 2nd highest amount with the 7 goals. 9 seconds left in the second quarter. Oregon just not getting anywhere near the net. They have to quickly charge in. The shot goes well over the net. That shot taken by Kylie Manzer. And the time will tick away. Oregon not able to get a goal here at the end of the buzzer, but an offensive outburst for Northwestern. 10 second quarter goals. Seniors really get in and start playing. Of course, we saw a little bit of Serafina Demuno. Haven't yet seen Megan Mulgrave. Those were the seniors kind of being honored today, so we'll see if they get some action later on in this game. Of course, Kara Nugent as well, with Delaney Schweitzer has been in the goal for the entire time.
Nikki Miles whistled for the foul there. Again, no.
Most first half goals. You see that graphic right there this season. That was a 17 goal outburst in that first half. Previous high was 16 goals.
Look, Northwestern's been so efficient in Big Ten play, but it's been a lot of defensive efficiency. They haven't had a single game where the margin has been under 9, and that's been impressive. But we've been sort of waiting for this offensive outburst, the real offensive explosion that we've seen today, and it hasn't happened in Big Ten play until this point. Northwestern's offense may be reaching another level with the end of the season approaching.
Getting hot at the perfect time. I mean, of course, they have Michigan coming into town Thursday night. That will be a game that will give Northwestern the chance to win a share of the Big Ten title, with Maryland picking up the win today, a close one over Ohio State, but they managed to stay alive and prevent Northwestern from clinching anything today.
Well, that Michigan game going to be so interesting.
Cutting in, Carasquillo scores! Oregon cutting the deficit down. That might actually not have been Carasquillo. Didn't get a terrific look at that play, but Oregon with an early goal here in that second quarter.
Yeah, credit Janae Sperling, actually, the junior midfielder out of Mission Viejo, California. Sperling does a great job. Gets the step on Hansen, but it's oftentimes when you get a step on Jane Hansen that the problems really begin for an offensive player. But here, Sterling shields the ball really well, keeps the cross around her head, doesn't give Hansen an opportunity to knock it loose. Great movement with that stick as well, and finally able to finish past Schweitzer.
And you don't see players get past Jane Hansen like that very often.
Well, when you do, she just takes the ball away, so.
So Oregon getting that goal back, trims the deficit to 11. For Sperling, that was her 11th goal of the game of the season. Had a goal against Eastern Michigan, took 5 shots in that game as well. Only had 3 goals all of last season, so has done a better job this season in improving the offensive outbursts. And taken away over here by Rachel Palo, who is flying up ahead. Can clearly see her speed in action. Now simply dumps it off over towards Carasquillo. Now towards Hurley on the near side, trying to give it back to Carasquillo. She can't corral it. Now she does, and it's saved by Schweitzer.
That was a situation where Carasquillo trying to get the ball back so hard, couldn't get it until her angle had been pretty much completely ruined by her positioning.
The lead pass up ahead. Rozga giving it over towards that far side to Nikki Miles. We saw Claire Snyder enter the game for Northwestern, so now the bench starting to come out here a little bit. Here's Locascio. Up top, they gave it to Aditi Foster. Now Nikki Miles controlling with under 12 minutes to go in this third quarter, an 11-goal lead for Northwestern. Lucy Monroe with the hat trick already, looking for the pass. Dumps it down low. Here's Sam Smith. Smith looking for the open look, shoots low, and the first save of the game for Kate Shields.
Yeah, I think Sam Smith thought Kate Shields was going to stay out of her cage a little longer than she actually did. Thought she might catch her unawares there.
Campbell with some open space, takes it, shoots, Shields with the stop, and then's able to pick it up cleanly. So impressive from Kate Shields, the freshman, with 2 really big saves.
Honestly, might have hit the pipe. I couldn't quite tell from our angle, but either way, great play. Great sequence from Shields.
That pass goes a little bit crazy. Catherine Welch entering the game off of the bench. Well, making a nice play to get that turnover. But mention Kate Shields and what she's done as Delaney Schweitzer now also out of the game. Kara Nugent enters the game for Northwestern. So a couple of different goaltenders in this second half of play. A lot of different substitutions happening all over the field.
Well, we thought we would see Nugent at some point this year for this game for her senior day. Has played a role both this year and last year off the bench. Been an impactful, player for Northwestern. Not as much in her performances in the game, although did have some impactful moments this season, but also for her leadership on the sideline.
It's been great to see. Has gotten a little bit of playing time. Of course, Schweitzer missed a couple of those games early in the season, so it allowed Nugent and Argenteri to both get some action playing. The pass from Campbell was looking for Monroe, didn't quite connect. And now we'll see if Nugent will get tested on this upcoming Oregon possession. Some pausing on the field here. Let's see what happened. A couple substitutions. A green card was issued is the official ruling. I believe that's going to go against a Northwestern player, and it'll go against Jordy Miles. So she'll go take a seat for a minute.
It looked like Northwestern might have had a substitution problem there. Not sure what it was, but green card either way.
For Nugent, who might get tested now that Northwestern is down, has made 9 appearances last year, has played very minimal minutes over this season, but has been impressive in what she has seen, a .462 save percentage, and only 7 goals allowed on the season in those minutes played. Oregon trying to pressure and trying to bring this lead back down to 10 as they try and enter into the fan. Entering the fan now, here's Hurley. Dumps it off, looking for Manzer. Sammy White coming all the way out to pressure her, and Oregon has to reset. Only 13 seconds left on this penalty for Miles. The return feed to Hurley. Cutting in, spinning, it's poked out of her stick. Sam Smith with the nice play to cause that turnover.
Yeah, great job by Sam Smith. I think it actually was a yellow card on Miles right now being told, so she is still in the sin bin, if you will, for the next minute. But either way, excellent defensive sequence for Northwestern. That's one of the most impressive things about this Wildcat defense. You know, we saw them give up the goal 5-on-7 earlier today, but 6-on-7, they've actually been very strong defending a player down. In those power play situations, the Wildcats have stood very strong against most of the teams they've faced this season.
They've done an impressive job today. I mean, just limiting opportunities. Of course, there was the moment where Oregon was 2 players up. They had one of those situations earlier today. That was one of the few times we've seen Northwestern really falter on those player down opportunities. Trying to extend the lead now, up 17-6. Breaking ankles out here. The ball gets knocked out of the stick. I believe that's Noelle Cumberland, who was making some nifty moves.
Not a highlight that Alex Matsuoka is going to want to have on her defensive reel. Cumberland earns herself a free position.
The 11-goal lead already. Cumberland with the open look. Charges in, gets the look, shoots and scores. Extends the lead to 12. It's Noelle Cumberland with her first of the game, her 3rd goal on the season.
Really impressive sequence from Cumberland.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Working herself into some open space. You mentioned the offense as well. The defense has also been outstanding for this Northwestern team. 6th in the nation for offense. Their entered the weekend 3rd best defense in the nation, only allowing 7.5 goals per game. Allowed 6 so far today. We'll see what that number finishes at, but they've been very strong defensively.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that, too. They're 3rd in the nation in defense, despite having faced the top 2 offenses in the country.
Chance in front and a goal. Miles adds to the lead. It's 19-6.
Nikki Miles' off-ball movement has continued to improve over her time here at Northwestern. You know, her previous school at Penn, she played a lot more of the point guard role from behind the cage from that X position, had the ball in her cross a lot of the time. Here, the ball-dominant role is obviously with Madison Taylor and a couple other players, pretty ball-dominant players as well. So she has grown and continued to grow in her off-ball cutting. Here, hesitates just long enough to make Oregon lose track of her, slices into the middle of the arc just when it's time for her to make that cut, catches and fires. Excellent play from Nikki Miles.
Just sneaks past the defender just so easily to work herself into that open space. For Miles, it's now her 2nd of the game. Make that 6 consecutive games for Nikki Miles with at least 2 goals. So her scoring continues to just increase, really working in that depth role to help out Maddie Taylor and the rest of that top scoring offense. We haven't seen a whole ton of Maddie Taylor in this second half. Have to wonder if her day might be done with this 13-goal lead. And if that is the case, well, she'll go into next week tied with Rachel Clark for the nation's lead in goals at 71 on the season.
Does have more goals per game than
Yes.
Clark. Not that
This
that
is,
changes too much.
of course, the 14th game of the season for Northwestern right now. BC has played 15. So a little bit more impressive, I would say, in that category. Of course, only the 1 game difference.
Well, the nation's leader in goals per game coming into the weekend still resided at Princeton. I mentioned that top 3 of goal scorers. It really has been a top 3, even though Clark and Taylor obviously a little bit ahead in terms of overall goals.
Well, it was getting closer, but they have done a terrific job this weekend to try and separate themselves with each of them with 7-goal outbursts. Here's Lucy Monroe looking for the open look, passes it down low, looking for Ventresca. Kate Shields coming all the way out of her cage to pick up that ball and start the transition game. However, the pass just goes nowhere. Jordy Miles picks it up.
Well, freshman mistake there from Shields. But this Oregon team, you can tell how much this coaching staff and Jessica Drummond and her group prioritize speed. They have a lot of speed all over the field. Shields has a ton of speed for a goalie. He was on display right there. Team speed can be so impactful against teams where all else is equal. That extra burst, that extra step in transition makes things so much easier for you as a group.
Loose ball on the ground. Ventresca couldn't get a hold of it, and now possession is awarded to Oregon. And here they come with the transition game, trying to get it started. Have not had it started pretty much all day. This Northwestern defense so great at getting back into position and really just setting themselves up for success.
That's where you have to credit Grace Fujinaga a ton. There's other players, you know, Mary Carroll has been one of the players as well. But Fujinaga in particular and Carroll secondarily have been those players that, you know, they don't participate in the offense. They stay on the field when the offense is on the field, and they help set up the defensive structure for Northwestern.
Hurley went down on that play, but I believe he's going to get called for a charge, so possession goes in favor of Northwestern.
A great defensive situation there by Megan Balgrave. The senior got herself in position, took the charge, made the play as Kelly Monty Hiller's bench continues to open up a little bit here.
Seeing all of the seniors get into the action today. Really, of course, with this large lead, it gives Kelly Monty Hiller the opportunity to empty out the bench and give everyone that opportunity. Campbell, with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, cuts to her right, now circles back. Goes all the way to the top of the arc, passes it to the other side now. Here comes Nikki Miles racing in. It's stopped by Shields. So Kate Shields has entered this game in this second half and has had an impressive day so far. Up to 3 saves now. Crowther only had 4 in the entire first half. Faced a lot more shots.
Yeah, and also higher quality of shots is what Crowther had to deal with, unfortunately for her.
Was a tough day to say the least for this Oregon defense. Just overall, just relentless attack. And now a chance here for Hurley. She shoots and scores. Is able to beat Nugent and get a goal right back for Oregon.
Northwestern's defense mixing and matching a little bit, and Hurley takes advantage. This is not a group that has spent a lot of time playing together as a group of 7, and not everybody in their spots with their assignments. Hurley, again, gets that step, gets free on this cut. Rosga's too late to respond. Nobody comes over to help. Cumberland maybe should have slid a little bit quicker, but Hurley had a head of steam either way and delivers a great shot to finish the goal.
Yeah, it almost looked like Rosga looking to her right. Hurley came in on her left side, and Rosga just didn't pick it up in time.
Well, now Oregon, you know, they're trending closer towards double digits. Northwestern has not allowed double-digit goals to a non-top 2 team in the country since the very first game of the season when they let Notre Dame score 10. Most of those, honestly, in a comeback effort after Northwestern seemed to have the game well in hand. So it's been such a consistent defensive effort for Northwestern. And I was mentioning it earlier, Dylan, but again, Northwestern is 3rd in the country in defense in terms of goals allowed per game, despite being the only team in the top 5 in goals allowed per game that has played each of the top 2 teams in the country in goals scored per game. It adds even another level to those defensive numbers.
And of course, I mean, when you have the running clock in the majority of your games, that limits the amount the other teams can score as well, of course.
But you got to get there,
yes,
is the thing.
Serafina DeMuno all the way on the back line herself with a nice feed up ahead to Sammy White, who was racing ahead. Drops it off to Jordy Miles. Now to Campbell, who can't get the pass to connect with her. Abby Locasio comes out with it. She'll just give it over to Campbell, who cuts over towards her left. Now just looks for the pass. Stumps it down low. Lucy Monroe, a shot that's stopped by Shields. And Oregon, it comes away with it. A couple nice defensive stands for these Ducks. With 20 seconds to go in the third quarter, we'll see if there's time for one last rush opportunity. Ball kind of bounces around. More time ticking away. Here's Rachel Palo, pass up ahead. Just 7 seconds. They'll have to move quickly. Here comes Sperling. Back to Palo. Will shovel it on net, and it's stopped by Nugent. So neither team with a goal here late. Northwestern and Oregon, they tidy up the defense just a little bit in this third quarter. 19-7 to the lead. We'll take a quick step aside and be back for the fourth quarter on Big Ten.
that game against Michigan, right? That's a Michigan team that just today beat Johns Hopkins 13-2. That's the number 7 team in the country. They beat by 11 goals. So it's a Michigan team that is riding really high in a game that has a lot of meaning for both of those squads. Michigan trying to position themselves to make sure they are in the NCAA tournament. It's not a guarantee right now that they will be. Going to be a big game for the Wolverines. And, of course, former Wildcat legend Hannah Nielsen here at Northwestern Medicine Field on Thursday.
And, I mean, at the start of the year, that was a game that we looked at and said, hey, this could be a top 5 matchup between these two teams. There was a time where Northwestern was ranked number 2. Michigan was ranked number 3. Of course, Michigan hasn't necessarily lived up to those expectations. Still a really solid team, and they proved today just how great that they can be and can be a threat to defeat anyone in the country pretty much. Oregon down by 12 goals, 14 minutes left, trying to just finish this road trip with some confidence. Chance in front for Paolo, who's able to bury it. Rachel Paolo getting the goal, cuts the lead to 11. Nice play in front.
Oregon has not stopped fighting, right? And the offense, which really sputtered early on in conference play, has started to find its footing a little bit more of late. You know, they had a couple of really poor showings offensively early in the conference slate. Only 4 goals against a great Maryland team. Bounced back a little bit against Johns Hopkins. Scoring 9 goals, even in a losing effort against Michigan, is really impressive. And they've now put 8 goals on a similarly impressive Northwestern defense. You know, obviously these final scores and the score line right now isn't what Oregon wants, but this offense has continued to round into form over the course of the season. It's a young team. It's a young coaching staff with a lot of potential on both counts. And Oregon right now, it's about building for the future. They're doing that.
And I think this team kind of understands. I mean, you can see they're still getting excited after every goal. They know the type of competition that they are going up against is some of the best in the country. And, I mean, anytime you can put one in the back of the net against a team with as good of a defense as Northwestern, it's something to be excited about. I mean, look, this is an Oregon team who is scoring more goals against Northwestern than Northwestern averages allowed goals. Northwestern only averaging 7.5 and Oregon up to 8 today.
And from an offensive perspective, obviously the season isn't over for Oregon yet, as Northwestern
referee took a tumble.
Yeah, he's a backup though. Oregon, obviously, the season's not over yet, but you know they're going to lose Bree Carasquillo. That's a tough loss for them as a graduate student. The rest of these the players that have scored today, every other player that has put the ball in the back of the net is not exhausting their eligibility this season. So it's an Oregon team that still has plenty of youth available to them, still has plenty to build for going forward.
Simmons, only a junior, of course, second leading goal scorer on the team, has a couple of goals today. If she can take a senior year jump, I mean, there will be talent on this team, no doubt about it. Cumberland with a shot just goes wide of the net, and Shields is fired up to be the first person back to track that ball down.
Well, you mentioned it. The effort from Oregon has been so strong today, all the way through the game, even when they've been down, even when Northwestern was really going on a run. It's impressive to see.
Of course, I mean, you look at it, Cade Shields has had an impressive second half as well. She's only a freshman. So if you think about she can continue to improve and continue to develop as a goalkeeper, that back line will be just even more improved for them as well. And they're still pressuring as well. Of course, had the goal to start the fourth quarter, trying to get another one, try and make this deficit look a little less worse for them. Charging in, here's Kozitsa with a shot. Able to fight it off over there is Nugent.
It's a nice save by Nugent. It's a great job of reacting.
Now Oregon right back with possession after that solid look from Kozitsa. Here comes Simmons with the 2 goals in the game already. Finds Paolo. Now over towards Sperling. They give it right back to Simmons. 1-on-1 against Mulgrave. Now Cumberland able to come over to help out. Simmons will take it herself all the way behind the net. Drops it off to Carasquillo. She has a little bit of space there behind the net. Circling out in front, trying to find the open shot. Fires and scores. What a day from Bree Carasquillo, her 4th of the game.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Entering the fan, back to the net, foul is called and should lead to a free position.
Yeah, it's going to be a yellow card as well. Not ideal for McKenna Cunnington, the sophomore defender. Just got the stick way up close to the head area. Looked like she caught Johnson's Visor.
So it'll be Hannah Rudolph on
Or
this
Rudolph's
free position.
visor,
Yes.
pardon me. Got my Hannahs mixed up.
Rudolph, the first year on this team, was number 10 ranked incoming freshman in her class. Has had some solid offensive production throughout the season. Scoring in 6 games. Fires on goal, and it just goes wide. And I believe Oregon's going to be the first one there. It was Jaden Lang able to get to it.
Rudolph had a great summer with the U20 national team. And just missed that shot. Bit uncharacteristic for her.
Has 7 goals on the season already, but that one went wide. She was 7 for 12 with only 5 misses from her shots. So you don't see a whole ton of that from her. Oregon trying to get that goal back and escape running clock territory. Foul is called. That'll slow things down a little bit. Catherine Welch pressuring. Ball comes all the way out to the top now. Here's Simmons trying to create some space for herself, but solid defense from Hannah Rudolph to just keep her away. Here's Bree Carasquillo, 4 goals in the game, has been impressive. Taking that space that's being given to her, Alex Blake now comes out to pressure. Plays catch with Simmons. Very slow with it.
Well, Oregon playing 6-on-7 and realizing that.
Just wasting some of that penalty clock. Of course, down by 10, you want to score goals, but perfectly content with using some of that penalty time. Carasquillo had an open lane for a second. Now dumps it off for the pass. Palo scores! Carasquillo to Palo, and the lead is down to 9.
Well, that's how you play against a running clock, against a yellow card situation if you're Oregon. You have to take your time as a team and find an open cutter. And for Northwestern,
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Get it back. DeMuno, one of the seniors being honored here today on Senior Day. Crowd wanted her to get into the action. Doesn't have a goal on the season yet.
she's a huge fan base here today. The Lake Barrington, Illinois native has a ton of friends and family out here to support.
And now Northwestern, with possession, can kind of kill off the rest of this penalty. Still 38 seconds remaining on this card from Mulgrave. Ventresca with an open lane will just back it out. 22 seconds on the shot clock, so they'll have to fire a shot before the penalty goes away. About a 7-second differential between the shot clock and the penalty clock. Only 10 seconds now left on it. They're just wasting some of this time. It's Hannah Johnson behind the net, circles out in front, but a whistle blows before she scored that. I believe a foul was issued.
Interesting from Johnson here. She hasn't really looked to pass all that much.
Just kind of running around with it in that behind the net. Now 5 seconds. She'll have to get out in front quickly. A spin move. Can't get an open look. Drops it off. Miles can't get the shot away. And the Oregon defense comes up strong once again. Northwestern just cannot find the back of the net here. They're yet to score in this fourth quarter after a very impressive first half.
Yeah, the Oregon defense has been stepping it up, no doubt about it.
Only 2 goals in the third quarter, so they've really flipped the script in this second half. Shields will fling this pass up ahead. 3 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Here comes Lila Hurley. She will take it behind the net herself and now find the pass over to the other side. 19-10, Northwestern leads. Maddie Taylor, the leading goal scorer with 7 first-half goals, has really been the story of the game. Oregon with a nice second-half performance, trying to just inch their way back into this and give themselves some confidence here. Some nice moves over there by Janae Sperling, but a great double team as DeMuno and Alex Blake go to attack the on defense. Clock just continues to tick down. Here's Manzer. Drops it off over for Carasquillo. Nice spin move against Catherine Welch. Carasquillo trying to circle out in front, and a foul's called. Welch is just been one-on-one with Carascola for the majority of what seems the second half. It's been some solid defense. Of course, Carascola with the 4 goals overall in the game. The first half hat trick. Shot from Sperling over there just goes wide. Race for it on the other side of the field. And Oregon, the first one over there. That's Lily Fortin entering the game for the Ducks. Has only played 2 games this season. Hasn't played since March 6th, so she's getting some action. Everyone on both rosters seems to be entering the game at this point. 90 seconds remain here at Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium. 19-10, the Northwestern lead. Looking for a rush opportunity. Here comes Foster, flying up the field. Foster with some open space, hit the post. Oh, what an opportunity there. Now another chance. Here's Brooke Stroh into the game. Last minute of play here. Northwestern with this 9-goal lead, trying to get their 20th goal. It'll be the one last look. We'll take a look at this previous replay. Just off the post, a good look.
Yeah, didn't miss by much from Foster. That was a great shot that time.
Cumberland. Northwestern won't be able to run out, or actually will be able to run out the entirety of this game clock if they so choose. 33 seconds on the shot clock, 27 on the game clock. Just kind of circling around the outside of the arc. Rachel Wiener with possession. Finds Johnson. Circling around, looking for one last opportunity. And a foul is called. This one will be an offensive foul against Northwestern, so Oregon will get that last stand. No fourth quarter goals for Northwestern. Very impressive defensive showing by the Ducks late, but it's not enough. Northwestern with the victory, 19-10, your final score here at Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium.
Yeah, you mentioned not much doing in the second half for these Wildcats, but what a first half it was, especially offensively. Maddie Taylor, 7 goals and 4 assists in just the first half. Wildcats with 10 second quarter goals, 17 first half goals. High watermark on the ladder for the season. It was just a really impressive performance all around from the Wildcats.